Recreational mathematics this week takes place right before Truth and Reconciliation Day, so we are going to take an Indigenous-themed look at some of the games and ideas that can push our mathematical thinking into the good parts edition of mathematics. As always, we are starting with a mathematical technological combination of the magic eye, and if you can stare through the image, are you able to see the eagle that exists in this art? Callisto. Special gratitude to Clomination and its members, especially Miss Betty Wilson, Ms. Gail Blaine, and Ms. Tyler Peters for sharing their knowledge about weaving. There's a few different places you can go to take a look at the different ways that weaving and its mathematics blends together. For example, Coast Salish blankets. There are many geometric concepts that can be seen in traditional weaving of the Coast Salish peoples. Weaving is a craft with a long history in many places in the world, including the Pacific Northwest or Pacific Southwest, depending on which perspective you have on the BC Coast Salish people. An important feature of woven baskets is the occurrence of beautiful geometric motifs and patterns, such as the one in this basket. The motifs we observe are highly regular and can be described in simply in terms of basic geometric shapes and math operations. The basic geometric shapes and motifs include broken lines, triangles, rectangles, and more. Here are three: the broken line, the atomic snake, and the triangle. Of course, the number of lines, height, and width can be adjusted to suit the artist's vision of the weaver. In math operations, we can also reflect things horizontally, vertically, and use mirror images as well. Here are some of the basic stacking operations. And of course, the combined patterns can be woven into the shape of a basket in geographical representations. What might the geometrical messaging be in this basket? Some number thoughts. Did you know instead of a single universal 1, 2, 3, Coast Salish nations often had different number forms depending on what was being counted? A worldview where number and context are tied together. Imagine that with one word you would tell the difference between two cedar planks versus two people without using the reference to the digit 2. There's also some interesting things when we try to translate numbers into an English and a European math concept. Our Arabic digits from 0 to 9 can be helpful, but trying to make a straight translation from word to word, number to number, when it has those many different concepts, sometimes makes it different. And very often when people think differently than the way we think, we don't always take it all that well. It definitely means that we have to have a very open mindset when it comes to blending how different cultures look at language, look at numbers, and deal with the way they think about them all as well. It's fascinating how many combinations of this way to do counting exist around the world. Speaking of which, a little bit of a look at some of the Coast Salish design elements, looking at circles, ovals, crescents, extended crescents, trigons, and U-shapes to make a variety of patterns, and of course, break some of the rules to make some amazing patterns as well. You can take a look at some of these early different versions of fractals and see how the patterns work together to create imagery, to create shape, and even tell stories. And a little bit of math thinking for your brain. Can you change the direction of this fish by moving only 3 matchsticks? Feel free to pause the video. The answer will be revealed in 3, 2, 1. Got to kind of look at the fish being a little bit different in terms of its location and shift those 3 bottom matchsticks up to the top to have it facing the other way. Here's another rabbit hole to go down, especially when you're thinking about math, and it's looking at calendars and cycles. The people that we systemically and regionally refer to as Coast Salish often track time and resources using a 13-moon lunar calendar with the moons named to correspond with resources availability. For example, the herring moon, the berry moon, etc. Take some time and plot the moons and compare them to the 12-month European calendar. And also, are there resources that you track for availability over the years? based on time. For example, one time Mandarin oranges could only be found in Bay Street grocery stores in December, and you could only get those delicious cream-filled eggs and mini eggs right around March when spring was taking place. Now things are available all year long. The world is getting smaller and resources are becoming more plentiful. One of the fun thinking games recommended was the version of Ultimate Tic-Tac-Toe. Tic-Tac-Toe is pretty easy because it's pretty easy to get to a tie, as seen in the fabulous movie War Games. But if you take it up a notch and you explore Ultimate Tic-Tac-Toe, and you can go to this website to play it online as you want. Here's an example of the single-player version, where you are trying to make a tic-tac-toe cross multiple tic-tac-toes. Kind of tough on the screen I'm showing to you, sorry. We have to take a look at that 9-cent grids, and you're trying to win tic-tac-toes in each of them in order to get your line across, diagonally, up and down, whichever way you want. So sometimes you have to make some strategic choices and sacrifice some in order to win in some other ones to get yourself the right square. Right now I'm not doing very well, but I think I set myself up to get a couple wins along the way. Oh, now I'm starting to get a little nervous. All right, I'm going to try to focus down on this lower area while at the same time building where the randomizer is sending me into. I've got one win. I should be able to get a second win here. Oh, and I seem to be able to be doing a good job with the block. I'm going to try to ignore some of the areas that I'm tempted to go to. All right, now I think I've got the strategy working out. So it's fun to play against somebody, but it can also be fun when you take it on and try to battle yourself. It's a fun way to look at tic-tac-toe in a much more complicated and competitive methodology. Another activity you can do through PBS Kids is explore some of the beatings. There's two different ways to do it. We're going to take a look at one where you can follow a pre-programmed one and one where you can bead on your own.
Beading art. Hi, I'm Molly, and my mom is helping me learn how to bead. Beading is an important part of our culture. These are all my beading design cards. Design cards teach people how to make new things. Choose one of Molly's designs or make your own. Here are all my beading designs. My family and friends gave me many of these. Pick the design you'd like to make. Mountain flower, valley flower, lightning, Kaya, northern, Suki, leaves, wolf paw print, butterfly, mountain flower, valley flower, lightning, Kaya, northern lights, lightning bolt. Here's the design card you picked. Lightning bolt. Wow! The card tells us the title of the design and a description. It also has the list of materials and the steps for beading our design. This design has 5 steps. Let's get started. We should make sure we have everything we need. Read the materials list and tap all the items we'll be using. Materials. Pencil. Pencil, that's on our list. Cloth, that's on our list. Bead box, that's on our list. Needles, that's on our list. Red, great job. You looked at the list of materials and picked everything we need. Now let's read the steps we need to follow. Step 1. Trace the shape with the pencil. Tracing the shape tells us what the design looks like. Tap to trace the shape. Looks good. Step 2. Choose the yellow beads. That's right. That's the color we need for this step. Let's go to the next step. Step 3. Stitch the yellow beads until you're done. Step 4. Choose the white beads. That's right. That's the color we need for this step. Let's go to the next step. Step 5. Stitch the white beads until you're done. Quincy, this design looks amazing. I think it would make a great gift. something to put our design on. Shruncha! Looks great! This will be a nice gift for one of my friends in Kaya. Choose one of Molly's designs or tap or drag to add different colored beads. You can undo if you make a mistake. When you're done, tap the check mark.
Even though I was being fast, I much preferred making my own beading unit to following Molly's designs. I will freely admit that.
Gwinsy, that's an amazing design. Now pick something to put your beaded design on.
A little bit of fun to explore beading and be able to see your product on another surface. Another share from SFU, as they are also working on building connections with BC's curriculum and BC's First People, is a story from Small Number. Small Number is the main character in a series of stories that are available through the QR code down below and also on the links down below. Here's an example of one of the stories.
Small Number counts to 100. Small Number is a 5-year-old boy who gets into a lot of mischief. He lives with his grandma and his grandpa, who patiently put up with his antics in a small settlement with 7 teepees arranged in a circle. One day, Small Number wanders out into the woods and sees a beautiful black cat with a long white stripe down its back. Wanting to take the cat home to show Grandma, he tries to catch it and learns that the black cat is really a skunk. Smelling strongly from the skunk spray, he runs home to Grandma, who quickly takes him out to wash the smell off him. As hard as she scrubs him down, she can't quite get rid of all the bad smell. Grandma doesn't want Small Number spending time in her teepee until he smells better, so she decides to set him a task she thinks will take him a long time. She knows Small Number can count to 100. She tells him to start at their teepee, which is right beside the entrance to the settlement at the east point of the circle, and to walk around the circle of teepees by first heading south. His task is to count the teepees going round and round until he can tell her which teepee he gets to when he reaches 100. Small Number starts walking around the circle counting. He starts at 1 at his teepee. When he gets back there, he has counted to 8. When he gets to 15 and is back at his own teepee, he stops and sits down. He counts on his fingers for a while and then runs in to see his grandma and yells, "It is Auntie Rena's teepee," which is 1 teepee south of his grandparents. Question: how did Small Number know that the 100 teepee is the one just south of his grandparents' teepee without actually counting them?
A good little story, and one of the things that SFU is also working on is also building the language and reclaiming and resharing the Ayajutham language that is shared but with differences within the Coast Salish as well. Here's an example from that.
Shinawel hega manate. Theatres komis manate. Bayo tlachlachtan. Hef shikuk pas hega shichichiest lot lotol. Payot ikwa anans ninije kuyeye thots manate. Tahap ouch. Halkut hoju te ekwalt natam shikuk pas. Hehu aju mish mod shikwalt nas kunonohum. Lish ta sheemas hega kamkams gahas qaksem asqich. Hehu ik imot ho je kwet. Uktam kunetas. Ajus was qaksems. Tletwatau natam kerspal. Gagata some kwet nijek tathamais. Heyo toho was nams I hajais. Tatlechayin, such ice, such Tautawu saman, Tawet manate, I hajis. So
Many stories get to include numbers and have a lot of elements of that, as teaching is wonderful when it becomes part of a story and can be used to help understand cultures, places, communities, and stories that spread over many, many thousands of years. Now, admittedly, as we come into Truth and Reconciliation Week, are there some activities and games that you would have preferred to explore online that deal with mathematics as well? There's a good opportunity to do some equity and to be looking for other games that might better reflect some of our local nations within British Columbia and across Canada. Here's another rabbit hole to also explore if you're needing a little project. There are lots of numbering systems used in North America's First Peoples traditions. Take a look and explore a local way that counting took or takes place. Here's a pro tip. Google Vegetable Systems. Those are base 20s because you got 10 fingers, 10 toes, that equals 20. But also 4-base thinking. Season, winds, sacred mountains. We don't all work on base 10, and there's always lots of choice.